They say that the predators, the wolves in the wild, always target the weak, the stragglers, the ones who are easily separated from the herd. But let me tell you, that is a lie they have carefully crafted and spread. The truth, the secret they desperately try to keep hidden, is that the enemy does not chase the weak. They hunt the strongest. They move against you not because you are fragile or easy prey, but because they fear what they cannot possibly control. They have spent years orchestrating a campaign of lies, manipulation, and psychological warfare, poisoning your mind and systematically breaking your spirit with the goal of convincing you that you are nothing more than a follower. If you are truly nothing, they wouldn't waste their time. They attack you because they see the destiny, the power, and the light you carry, the very things you have been conditioned to overlook in yourself. The attacks on your life have been silent, strategic, and relentless. They operate in the shadows, whispering insidious doubts directly into your inner voice, creating seemingly insurmountable obstacles in your path, and most cruelly weaponizing the people closest to you, your family, your friends, your partner. Their primary goal is to make you question your worth, your capabilities, and your ultimate purpose, all because they know, with chilling certainty, exactly what you are here to do. Their greatest, most profound fear is your awakening. The moment a chosen one fully recognizes and steps into their inherent divine power, the enemy's meticulously planned system of control shatters, and their entire operation loses all grip on your existence. You were never meant to be a pawn. You were born to be a force of change. Before we delve deeper into the raw truth of this spiritual and mental conflict, I need you to pause for just a second. I need you to smash that like button and subscribe to this channel right now, because this is not just content. This is a lifeline, a vital message that is actively being suppressed and silenced. This isn't only for you. It's for every other chosen one out there who is currently feeling lost, struggling in the dark, and desperately searching for a sign that they are not alone. When you engage with this message, when you hit like, when you share, when you comment, you are directly severing the chains they have placed on this truth. You are sending a powerful signal to the algorithms of the system that more chosen ones need to hear this. And believe me, that is the last thing the forces of control want to happen. If the words you are hearing right now are resonating deep within your spirit, if you can feel something ancient and powerful stirring inside you as you listen, then I urge you to share this message immediately. Drop a comment below and stand openly with your people. Now, I need you to listen with every fiber of your being, because this is not a game. This is not another fleeting, empty motivational speech designed to make you feel good for 5 minutes. This is your final message before the true shift in your life begins. The war you feel is not coming. It is already here. It is not being fought with physical weapons like swords or guns, but with sophisticated manipulation, mind-numbing distractions, and a systematic effort to control your most valuable assets, your energy and your focus. Your mind is the primary battlefield in this invisible war. Every single time you hesitate to act on your intuition, every moment you question your inherent worth, every second you allow self-doubt to creep in, they secure a victory. You have been tested in the fires of adversity, tormented by relentless opposition, and frequently isolated from the general public, not because you are somehow cursed, but precisely because you are the one they fear the most. The single most dangerous, most disruptive force on this entire planet is a chosen one who has fully woken up and finally knows the terrifying extent of their own power. This power is not something you can purchase, learn from a course, or try to fake. It was granted to you before you were born, indelibly written into the very fabric of your soul and spirit. They can observe you endlessly. They can attempt to imitate your energy. They can even try to leech and steal your essence, but they will absolutely never be you. And that reality, the unchangeable fact of your uniqueness, is what truly haunts them and keeps them awake at night. That is the fundamental reason why they work so tirelessly, deploying every resource to make you forget who you fundamentally are. The chosen carry within them something the mundane world cannot categorize or explain, a palpable light that innately disrupts the surrounding darkness, a presence that cannot be ignored or dismissed, no matter how hard they try. Even in your darkest moments, when you feel completely invisible to the world, they see you with perfect clarity. Even when you are consumed by doubt, they know, without question, the magnitude of your strength. I want you to take an honest, critical look at your life's patterns. Examine the betrayals that cut the deepest, the sudden and inexplicable losses, the moments where your entire foundation seemed to crumble right before you were about to experience your biggest rise or breakthrough. These were not random acts of misfortune or simple coincidences. They were deliberate, high-stakes moves on a chessboard, meticulously designed to prevent you from taking the final step into your preordained destiny. They have dispatched people, often masked as lovers, friends, or mentors, with the sole purpose of draining your energy, distracting you from your path, and breaking your will. This was never because they saw you as weak, but because your power is too great to be left unmonitored and unchecked by the system of control. They work non-stop to keep you perpetually trapped in debilitating cycles of self-doubt, ensnared in toxic and draining relationships, and bombarded with endless distractions. The goal is simple: to ensure you never have the necessary time, the vital energy, or the mental clarity required to see the absolute, terrifying truth of your situation. You were never intended to simply fit into their mold. You were meant to lead. The universe itself has placed a distinctive, indelible mark on your soul, and there is absolutely nothing they can do to erase that divine signature. They can lie, they can manipulate, and they can attempt to destroy you, but they can never, under any circumstances, truly replace you. That is why they ultimately settle for the secondary objective of breaking your will, constantly making you second, guess your every move, and keeping you permanently exhausted and lost in the illusion. Because they know that the very moment you decide to fully reclaim your power, the entire foundation of their world changes forever. So, let me ask you, with absolute sincerity, are you finally ready to wake up? Or will you consent to stay asleep while they continue to drain you dry of your life force, your time, and your gifts? This is it. This is the point of no return. This is the moment where you either decisively step into your grand destiny or allow them to keep you locked in their carefully constructed illusion. The choice is now entirely yours to make. Tell me, are you truly prepared to hear the rest of this truth, no matter the spiritual and mental risk involved? Because once you absorb what follows, there is absolutely no going back to the way you were before. If you can feel this potent truth stirring in your very soul, drop the number 77 in the comments section below right now. Stay locked into this message, because what comes next is guaranteed to shake you to your core and redefine your reality. They know who you are even if you don't. The oldest and greatest deception the enemy ever managed to pull off was successfully convincing the chosen ones that they were somehow powerless, ordinary, or just like everyone else. They knew exactly who you were and what you were capable of long before you had even the faintest clue. They were aware of your potential long before you ever started questioning why your life felt fundamentally different, why you always felt subtly out of place, why betrayals hit you with a force others didn't experience, and why nothing ever seemed to come easy for you. They had their eyes on you from the beginning because they saw what was purposefully planted within you, that raw, unshakable, and uncontrollable force that no one can acquire, steal, or successfully fake. And that is precisely why they began moving against you long before you ever had the chance to fully rise. They have studied your every move like dedicated predators studying their target, not because they perceive you as weak, but because they know you are an imminent threat. You are dangerous. The second you drew your first breath in this world, they registered you as a disruptor, a powerful force that could never be truly controlled or assimilated. They whispered seeds of doubt and inadequacy into your subconscious before you could even form a proper sentence. They strategically placed roadblocks and complex obstacles in your path before you could even take your first confident step, not because they doubted your inherent power, but because they had absolute certainty that it was real, potent, and inevitable. Have you ever stopped to genuinely wonder why life's hardships seem to strike you with a deeper intensity? Why the very people who were supposed to love and protect you the most were often the first ones to inflict the deepest wounds? Why you have frequently been surrounded by individuals who fundamentally could not understand you, who secretly resented your presence, and who actively tried to clip your wings before you could even attempt to fly. This pattern is not random. This world operates on a carefully designed system, a structural architecture built specifically to suppress and neutralize the chosen ones long before they ever fully awaken to their own identity and power. Look closely at the historical record. Reflect on the figures who were conspicuously marked for greatness long before they even knew their own names. Great leaders, artists, and visionaries, they all faced the same exact script: early, fierce opposition, intense isolation, and complex manipulation. The enemy is far too smart to wait until you are fully strung to attack. They hit you with full force before you ever realize the immense scope of your own strength. Because here is the profound truth they will never voluntarily disclose. Your energy is your ultimate power. It is something they are completely incapable of manufacturing, something they will never possess, no matter how meticulously they study you, imitate you, or try to leech off your life force. That is why they expend so much energy confusing you, attempting to break you, and continuously draining you dry. They need you to remain completely blind to your own greatness. They need you constantly doubting yourself. They need you just weak enough to remain perfectly controlled. Consider this undeniable fact. Haven't you noticed how the most talented, the most insightful, and the most spiritually powerful individuals are consistently the ones who struggle the most? They are the ones who face an endless barrage of attacks, back betrayals, and seemingly infinite roadblocks. This is not because they are cursed or unlucky. It is because they are targeted. The very moment you manifested on this planet, you were immediately registered as a problem to the controlling forces. They didn't require physical proof of your power. They only needed to ensure that you never, ever discovered it for yourself. That is the true reason why they have put you through so much intense adversity. That is precisely why you have been forced to endure betrayals that felt like a knife, wound plunged into your soul. That is why the people you held dearest have turned against you time and time again. The simple truth is that your light exposes the darkness that resides within them. They profoundly resent your potent energy because they can't successfully replicate it. They deeply envy your unshakable spirit because they simply do not possess one of their own. And when people realize they cannot successfully control or possess something truly divine, their final, desperate recourse is always to seek to destroy it completely. But let's pause and take a breath for a second. I know what the little voice of doubt is whispering to you. If I'm truly chosen, why does my life feel so incredibly hard? Why does it feel like I am constantly losing, perpetually being tested, and endlessly walking this solitary path? And I need you to understand that this is exactly how they want you to think. They want you to believe that your intense struggle is irrefutable proof of your failure, your flaw, your weakness. But in the grand, unseen scheme of things, it is the complete opposite. Your struggle is the ultimate proof of your power. The most powerful souls in the history of the world are the ones who are put through the most brutal trials. Think of it this way: gold is refined only through intense fire. Diamonds are formed solely under crushing, immense pressure. True warriors are never molded in comfort or ease. They are rigorously forged in the heart of the most difficult battles. You were never assigned an easy, comfortable path because you were fundamentally not built for mediocrity. You were specifically designed to shake the very foundations of this current world, to disrupt outdated systems, to challenge embedded lies, and to walk a path that only the absolute strongest souls could possibly handle. Look at the forgotten greats of history. Nikola Tesla was isolated and widely discredited. Joan of Arc was tragically burned for her divine vision. Muhammad Ali was silenced and viciously attacked. The world has always, without fail, feared those who carried truly divine gifts, because their mere presence alone shatters the most deeply held illusions. And that is precisely what you do every single day, even if you can't perceive it yet. Your very existence in your authentic power makes people profoundly uncomfortable. Your energy is so strong that it automatically exposes the weak and the false around you. That is why people who once expressed love for you can suddenly and inexplicably turn against you. That is why you frequently feel like a total outcast, even when you are surrounded by your closest friends. That is why, no matter how desperately you try to fit in and conform, you never truly succeed. You never should. But here is the part of the truth that should absolutely terrify your enemies. You are rapidly waking up. The more viciously they try to suppress you, the stronger and more resilient you inevitably become. The more adversity they throw into your path, the more you adapt and survive. They are losing their grip of control, because the very thing they feared most is now actively unfolding. You are beginning to see the truth clearly. So I ask you once more, why do you truly believe you have been attacked so relentlessly? Why do the obstacles in your life never seem to stop appearing? It is because they are acutely aware that if you ever fully step into your rightful power, they will become utterly powerless to stop you. They won't be able to manipulate you anymore. They will be unable to use you as a steady, reliable energy source. They will not be able to break you again, and that single, simple fact absolutely paralyzes them with fear. So, what is your next move? Are you going to continue letting these unseen forces dictate the terms of your life? Are you going to remain blind to the undeniable power that resides within you? Or are you finally going to step up and claim the destiny that has always been your birthright? This war is not ending, it is intensifying. And the only thing they fear more than a chosen one is a chosen one who finally, completely realizes who they are. The moment you fully and unequivocally embrace your sacred calling, the world around you will shift in ways you have never dared to imagine. The enemies that have strategically surrounded you will quickly scatter and flee. The obstacles that once seemed utterly impossible to overcome will suddenly crumble before you. The phenomenal power that they have worked so hard to suppress will violently explode out of you like an unstoppable force they are simply incapable of containing. They have dedicated years, maybe even entire decades, trying to keep you confined in the darkness and confused. But now, the pressing question is no longer why they fear you. The only question that matters now is, what are you going to do with that fear? Are you going to allow it to hold you back into perpetual paralysis, or are you going to harness it, use it as raw, potent fuel for your rise? Because the ones who worked so hard to break you are about to witness a majestic rise they never saw coming. Your power cannot be taught. Only given a lion does not need to ask for permission to roar. And a chosen one does not require external validation or approval to rise to their highest potential. They absolutely detest the fact that you did not have to earn, beg for, steal, or learn this profound power from a textbook. It was intentionally and divinely placed inside you before you ever took your first breath on this earth. This truth, above all else, is what drives them to the brink of insanity. They spend their entire lives in a desperate, futile attempt to mimic the energy and gifts that flow through you with such natural ease. They take endless courses, they copy your style, they imitate your energy, but no matter how much effort they exert, they will never, ever be you. Your power is an unquantifiable force. It is not something that can be taught in a classroom, bought with money, or borrowed temporarily from another. It is intrinsically encoded in your very existence, stitched into the very fabric of your soul by cosmic forces that operate far beyond the understanding of this limited world. That is why, no matter how aggressively they try to dim your light, suppress your unique voice, or systematically destroy your confidence, there is always something deep inside you that absolutely refuses to die. That unwavering resilience is not simply stubbornness. That is divine resilience. That is the unmistakable mark of the chosen, and they cannot stand it, nor can they destroy it. Think about the logic of their actions. Why would they work so hard and expend so much energy to convince you that you are worthless or nothing special? Why do they constantly mock you, gaslight you, and manipulate you into believing you are just another face in the crowd? Because at their core, they know the terrifying truth. They see something in you that defies their categorization, something they cannot logically explain. They see the undeniable glow, the intuitive wisdom, the unbreakable spirit, and it terrifies them beyond measure. Have you ever noticed how people are intensely drawn to your energy, but simultaneously harbor deep resentment toward you? They crave your energy, they soak up your wisdom, and they readily accept your kindness. But the very instant they realize they cannot fully control or manipulate you, they immediately turn on you with venom. This is because their affection was never genuine love. They loved what you had. They desperately wanted to consume your essence, to use your profound power for their own selfish gain. And when they failed to secure that control, their fleeting admiration instantly morphed into intense hatred. This explains why you have been through so much, why your life has felt like an unending battlefield since day one, because your gifts were too great and too undeniable to go unnoticed. The world recognized your potential before you did. The enemy saw your power before you did, and they knew their only option was to either keep you perpetually asleep or completely broken before you could ever figure it out. Look at the true legends. Michael Jordan was not taught to be great. He was born with it. Tesla did not simply study genius, he was given it. No external force trained them to be different. They simply were, and because of that, they were targeted, discredited, and isolated. Do you genuinely believe that's a mere coincidence? The most profoundly powerful souls are always, without exception, the most rigorously tested. The universe does not waste valuable time or immense pressure on the ordinary. If you have faced deep personal betrayal, back-to-back struggles, or years of feeling like you simply don't belong, I need you to understand that this is not bad luck. It is definitive proof of who you are. The world has been actively trying to erase you and your potential before you could fully arrive at your power, because here is the final secret they do not want you to realize. You are unstoppable the moment you claim the divine power that has always resided inside you. No one can teach you the ability to effortlessly see through lies, to sense energy and intent before a word is spoken, or to bounce back from soul-crushing situations that should have utterly broken you. That is not learned, it is divinely inherited, and that is why they attack you differently than everyone else. Look around you right now. Do you see people constantly studying your moves, trying to understand the inner workings of how you do what you do? Do you notice how people love your presence, but secretly envy the sheer strength of your spirit? That's because they can't successfully figure you out. You simply do not fit into their narrow rules, their predictable formulas, or their established expectations. And that, my friend, is the glorious beauty of being chosen. You were never meant to. They actively try to silence you not because your words are meaningless, but because they hold too much radical truth. They try to break you not because you are weak, but because they are terrified of what will happen when you finally stand in your power. So let me ask you one final time, how much longer are you going to allow external forces to define your identity and potential? How long will you continue to doubt the inherent gifts that have already been freely given to you? Every time you hesitate, every second you spend guessing yourself, they secure another win. And you, the chosen one, were absolutely not sent here to lose. The world doesn't need another timid follower. It does not need another individual dimming their essential light to fit into a space too small for them. It needs you in your raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic power. It needs you to step forward, to fully own what resides inside you, and to stop actively running from the very purpose you were sent here to fulfill. Because the very moment you accept, claim, and embody who you truly are, the world will have no other choice but to recognize, respect, and yield to you as well.